So let's touch on business credit.
Okay.
'Cause that's something important too, that a lot of people have no idea how to even start generating business credit. I mean, of course, you know about personal credit. You go apply for a personal credit
Right.
card. That business credit runs a little bit different. So say I'm a new client. I got my LLC. You know, I got my EIN because you're gonna need your EIN
Right.
for that. Where do I start? What's recommended? Where do I start? I'm starting from ground zero. I'm like, man, I have no business credit whatsoever. So where do I start at?
Well, first you want to make sure your structure is correct to get business credit.
Okay.
Because when you're doing business credit, you're not getting it just to start with the starter vendors. You're getting business credit because you're trying to build it, I'm sure, over years and build a strong profile. So there's certain things you want to have in place as far as the address, the phone number, the email address. Everything needs to be professional.
Now, the address. Now, I can't sit around and use my home address. Huh?
Well, I'm going to tell you this. Have people been able to get business credit with the home address? Yes. Now, as you move further along in business credit, if I'm a lender and you got 8 employees, all of them working at your house. So you do better setting everything up the right way. Not just that, unless you're going to be at your house the whole time you have your business. Like you're in your home now, but what if you and your wife decide to move to another location, right?
Right.
Then you got to go change that address on everything. Secretary of State, IRS, Dun and Bradstreet, your business checking accounts, any other, all your business credit vendors or accounts and all. You got to go change all of that because you use your home address and not a commercial address or what we call a virtual address.
So, I don't use my home address, but I have no building of my own. So would you recommend, let's say, Regis?
That's a virtual address.
Okay.
And I only really recommend, I'm giving y'all this free information that people pay for, okay?
Ooh, boy, I'm draining it out of
So Regis, Da Vinci, or Opus. But all of my virtual addresses are with Regis.
Gotcha.
How much are they?
It just depends. So the virtual address is based off whatever contract. When I first started with my virtual address here, for 6 months, it was $39.20. Now, when I signed up for SAM.gov, I couldn't just have a virtual address, so I upgraded it to a suite, but it's not like a full suite. And I upgraded it to that, so I can have a office number or suite number, okay?
Right.
Other than that, it just depends on what kind of contract you sign. The person that I use here is a guy named Tim Green. He's in the office here, but I also have another contact of a girl in Dallas that I use where she can help anybody, all over the nation get a virtual address. And with my clients, they just do everything over the computer.
So you got your business address. So you probably gonna need a business phone number, right? Listed on 411.
Yep.
And it was something else. Oh, your business email.
Yes.
Not hotgirl69@gmail.com.
We do not want to see Pookie Main 23 at yahoo.com. Now, you was Pookie Main at 18. You're a businessman now. You be Pookie Main at home with your family and your friends, not on your email address. It needs to be professional. That makes a difference. So it's just about being professional. That's another reason why you want everything set up like that. It makes you look like a bigger business. Your business starts in your mind. When you start a business, you're not starting your business to say I'm going to be a mom and pop. Your mind should already say I'm a big business before you're a big business. So set it up that way.
You got to look the part.
You got to look the part. And the thing about it, if you don't set it up the right way, you end up spending more money
Later on
trying to get it right. So it's best to set it up the right way at the right time. Once you get all that structure, I have a business checklist. Before my clients apply for business funding or set up business credit, that checklist has to be checked off. Right. Then they know they're ready. Then you want to start with starter vendors. But you have to be strategic, okay? That's tier 1. You have to have so many things reporting on Dun and Bradstreet, a certain score on Experian, and so many things reporting on there. Equifax doesn't even matter to go to tier 2. Now, Equifax does matter, but to go to tier 2, it does not, right? And that you get to tier 2, that's more retail cards, right? So you go into these different things. The more you do, and you got to, don't start business credit unless you got some money to spend each month, at least $250, the minimum, because you have to use these accounts. you know?
Yeah, you do.
And I'm just talking about the start when you first start now, right? Yeah, people say, well, you don't have to do all that. So, yes, you do. Just to get the startup going, you want to. Now, as far as business funding, that's different, right?
Yeah.
That means I'm going to a bank. Yes, it's going to be in my business name under the tax ID, but they're looking at my personal credit because they're using my social security number to personally guarantee it. You hear people say PG, that's personally guaranteed.
Right.
So it's not going to report on my personal credit, but I will be personally guaranteeing it. That means if I default on that debt, it will show up on my personal credit. But as long as I'm using the debt correctly, it will not. But that also means I'm getting an inquiry on my personal credit as well.
Right.
So it's just about being strategic with that as well.
I want to go back to the business credit card. I got all this. I got everything set. I got my business address, business phone number, all that. I got my Duns and Bradstreet number that you can get off the Duns and Bradstreet website. So I got all that. And of course, business credit reports, the Equifax, Experian, and Dun and Bradstreet. Well, those are the big three.
The big three, the main three.
So is it easier for me to start off with net 30s?
Yes, those are startup vendors. Those are startup vendors.
And explain exactly what net 30 means.
Net 30 means it's a 30-day term, right?
Right.
So that means that I'm giving you this limit. If you purchase a product, I'm invoicing you, but you need to pay it within 30 days. Now, some gas cards are net 7. That means 7 days. Some are set net 14, right? So be careful with that. Now, here's some more free tea that people pay for, okay? With business credit, is the difference between that and personal credit. One of the differences is this. Your scores are based off how you paying your credit off sooner than on time. Right? Now, you pay it too soon, it's going to show up as a cash sale. I tell my clients pay it within 3 weeks, right? And I pay mine within 3 weeks. So in my calendar, if I know I'm going to go order something for, let's say, Uline, right? 3 weeks from that day, I'm putting in my calendar to pay Uline. That's how I keep it with it. Because if you're 1 day late with business credit, it can drop your scores. Totally different than personal credit. 1 day late, it can drop it. And it's on your credit report for 18 months. So, you want to make sure that you are paying it early. Pay it within 3 weeks.
So is that what they call a Paydex score?
That's your Dun & Bradstreet score. It's called Paydex.
Right. And it goes from 1 to 100, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Right?
So you want to be 80 or higher.
Right.
And you have people, you can probably get stuff with 72, but really 80 or higher is where you want it to be.
Yeah. So what I did, and you might even recommend this too, I started off with net 30s. I had Shirt C. I had C.
And they no longer report.
C.
But they did, though.
They did at one point. I had CEO Creative.
They report.
Of course, Uline, and you had Granger and those. Did those for a while. And then I went and got me some gas cards. I had a Wex card, a Fuel Man MasterCard. What's another? Exxon. I think Exxon was like the first one. And they all gave me about, I didn't have no business credit. I still got like $5,000-$6,000 coming out the jump, which was
because with business credit, you get higher limits than personal.
Because they
That's
want you to
the other reason.
Yeah,
That's the other reason why, because you're a business. And think about it. As a business, you're usually spending more money than you do as a person.
Right.
So you get higher limits with business. That's why if you're a business owner, you need to be leveraging business credit and not really using much of your personal credit.
And I don't.
Because if it's me, if I got American Express does not report to any credit bureaus, right? Everything does not have to be reported to the business credit bureaus. Now you do, because for you to build business credit, you wanted to, but some of that stuff is just being strategic, getting what you need for your business. Yeah, I want an American Express card that's not reporting, and I got a $25,000 limit or a $60,000 limit, and if I use $30,000 of it to start my next business, it's not going to affect my business credit score.
Because it's not
because of
reported
utilization.
Anyway. Right. So I did that. Build up my gas. I got the gas cards. Built that up. Then American Express was like, yeah, we'll take you. But I applied for my Chase Inc. card first.
And that is reported to business
because they're
credit.
inquiry sensitive. So I went with them first.
Right.
Then I went the American Express route. And,
and American Express is also inquiry sensitive. And they both pull from Experian. So with Experian, keep them inquiries low if you're trying to get business credit.
Right.
Because like business credit cards, because most of them pull from Experian. Navy Federal pulls from TransUnion. Not too many pull from Equifax, and some, but Experian, they will hit it. City pulls from Experian. Discover pulls from Experian.
A lot of them pull for Experian.
Capital One, all
three.
And Capital One, anything you get with Capital One Business Credit, I think it may be one card. We talked about this earlier. It's going to report on your personal credit too. I do not do
I hate
Capital One Business credit cards. And even if you do a business loan with them, it's going to report a business line of credit. It's going to report on your personal credit with their business products. So be careful with that. The purpose of you getting that business credit is to use it for your business, but also leverage that business credit. You don't want to be using your personal credit. So I will be keeping all my credit cards low on the personal side, use for what I need here. My stuff is on business. Period. When I'm traveling, I'm using a business credit card.
My gas card.
Right.
You gotta buy gas anyway. Right. So I might as well just use it over here.
I'm using it for business purposes.
Right. I gotta try to get to my business. So.
But also, you got to show your miles and all that, especially when you do your tax purpose and all that. But yeah, think about it. If I'm going to Dallas or Houston or wherever and I'm driving, I'm gonna fill that car up. Because guess what? I'm gonna talk to somebody. I'm gonna go meet with somebody, and I'm gonna talk to somebody about business credit or credit repair, and that's gonna make that a business meeting. Okay, and I'm gonna pay for that meal with that business credit card or that business debit card because that's a business.
We're having a business meeting.
I'm gonna pay for that hotel because I gotta have somewhere to stay while I'm gone to Houston or Dallas to go have that business meeting. And I'm going to use that credit card so I'm getting reward points. And as I build them reward points, I'm turning around and getting more cash in my pocket. So all these people, they see these people on here with Gucci and all this high-priced stuff, right? All this stuff, right? And they getting it with points from American Express and these other places.
Right.
They're leveraging business credit. And you go out here and get broke because you're trying to compete with them or be up, live like them. They are smart. They're leveraging credit. They go get a rental property and they got $60,000, $70,000 on a business credit card that's not reporting to the credit bureaus. It's ways where you can liquidate it, and then they use the cash from a credit card to purchase it. Once they sell it, get the money back, they pay the credit card down. But what if you just bought a $60,000 property or did some type of wholesaling or whatever it may be, whatever it is you spend, or one of those, what is it called? Where you go to the city to get the houses. A cash, a cash sale for the houses. You can do the cash sale, you show up with the cash. So if you're doing something like that, when you just show up with your cash that you got from your credit card, let's say you go get the house for $10,000. You just spent $10,000 on your credit card. You liquidated it, right?
Right.
The fund, you got $10,000 in reward. $10,000 reward. If it's $1 per dollar you spend, that's 10,000 points. Right. Just like that. Then you turn around and pay it right back off once you get to sell the property or renovate it or whatever, because $10,000 usually turns to $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 or more, right? So then that's a win-win. You turn around, pay yourself back, plus you put money in the bank.
And another thing I did I got a business credit monitoring through NAV.
Yep.
And it's a certain level you could pay where that monitoring would count as a trade line.
It's called NAV Boost. It's $39.99.
See, there it is.
And if you get the regular one, it's not going to be a trade line. Get the NAV Boost, $39.99. It's another tip for that, but you're not going to get that unless you're a paying client with NAV Boost. But it's another way, too, that you could do something else with NAV Boost. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, y'all going to have to sign up with her to get that part. I don't train them out of anyway. But, yeah, but business credit is good when you have it.
It's about educating yourself on it.
Right.
Like, at the end of the day, why I focus so much on personal credit and business credit is because, listen, we need to learn how to leverage this stuff to build wealth for ourselves and our families. We need to educate ourselves, so we turn around and educate our children and then educate our children's children. And this is the way we build wealth and leave it to our children. Because you can give your children wealth, but if you don't give them education, they'll lose the wealth. You don't educate them on how they got it and, and how to maintain it, they will lose it, right? That's why baby boomers now, their kids are grown. A lot of them, they built all this money, these millions, right? They built all this wealth, and their kids now or grandkids are losing it because they never educated them on how the game works, right? So Sorry, y'all. That phone of mine does that
That's all right.
on its own. So I'm saying all that to say is this. That's why I go so hard about it, because I feel like we deserve it, right? If you're building your business credit correctly, you're building a structure that's first. Get the structure right. Build a business credit. Get your personal. Don't think you just going to go and be a personal in hand. You do both, because you're going to need business funding as well as business credit. And so also building all that up so you get government contracts. There's millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars out there that we're not tapping into because we don't know about it, right? All that starts with making sure that stuff is correct. Because if you building business credit and you need funding, you get a contract and you need funding to make sure you got everything you need in place, can you get it? Making sure you're already ready when it's time, when God presents that opportunity. Not trying to get ready, you already be ready. And that's what it comes down to, leveraging that credit.
So to sum up business credit, you need an EIN. Mm-hmm. On most accounts, you can apply using your EIN. Mm-hmm. Once you get to those higher tier cards, you will have to PGM, personally guaranteed, which means that if you mess up, it's going to go on your personal credit.
Well, you can do that off jump. You can set up now I'm going to say this. Some of them will look and see how long you've been in business. Most of them at least want 1 or 2 years, right?
Right.
But if you got a 680 credit score and you building a business, I mean, you can go apply for a business credit card. You see what I'm saying? They're looking at your personal credit, right?
Right.
So you got to understand with banks, because with most business credit cards, they are not pulling Dun & Bradstreet, Experian, Equifax. They actually report to the Small Business Finance Exchange, right? Mm-hmm. So you can get that as long as that personal credit is where it needs to be. So you can go ahead and start on it now to get those credit cards, or the retail cards that are strictly using your business tax ID. That does take work. That takes you building that profile from tier 1 to tier 2 and then leveraging that. But it's not that many of them.
Right.
It's only so many of them that report to the credit bureaus. Most of them do not.
Yeah.
So it's about knowing which ones that do and making sure you get those. So, because think about it like this. You want your trade lines, when you first starting off, it's just like you're starting off with personal credit. Your limits are low, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's based off what you call, your trade line is based off what you spend. So let's say you line gives me and say, okay, I can give you $5,000. It's not like personal credit where it shows it's going to show like a personal credit show a $5,000 limit. If you've only used $500, that's all it's going to be reporting, $500, right?
Right.
But if you built that business credit, you go get a vehicle in your business name, and that's a $40,000 vehicle. You got a $40,000 trade line reporting on your credit. So then you go get and you've been paying on it on time. So why would I not give you a business credit card for $40,000 or more?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So it's about that too. Just kind of, you really just have to really get with somebody that know what they're doing, or really do a lot of research and education.
So really, utilization doesn't really factor too much in business credit it does personal.
It does.
It does?
Especially with that experience score, we'll drop it. So that's why I use a lot of my cards that don't report.
But to build, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
But to build it, you need it to report.
Right.
Good. We're the ones that don't report.
Correct. So when you first start out your startup vendors, that's where you're going to start, right? Use them. Your Paydex Score is not going to even come up until you've had at least 3 things reported, right?
Yeah, it took mine a while.
Yeah, it takes a while. Once it's reporting, use those, pay them on it for 3 times. You don't have to, once they're reporting on your credit, you don't have to use them anymore. You go to the next, right? Now, you want to use them within a year so they don't fall off your credit report.
Right.
So use them every year. Once you pay them a couple times, and they report on your credit after about 3 times, you don't have to use it anymore.
And you can go pull up your business credit score, report from Experian, Business, Equifax, and Dun & Bradstreet.
Right. And although you use NAV, which I do, at least 3 times a year, I pull my business credit report. Because sometimes it shows me some different things on there. Or the score may be a little bit different. So, and then also I had to do some disputes on mine. Pay attention to, I found it on NAV. Because every time mine updates, I go look at the full report. And my NAICS code was wrong. That makes a difference. They had it as a high industry code. Because I started not getting approved for stuff. I'm like, hold up, everything I applied for, I got approved. And some said, you have to do your research. I went and looked at those reports, and Experian was reporting my NAICS code wrong. It took them 90 days to fix it. 90 days after I did that dispute, but finally got it fixed, and then now I'm starting back on some more, applying for more business credit.
Like the NAICS code is the code that's like pretty much your job description.
Your industry.
Your industry. And depending on what industry it is, it has a risk factor involved
Correct.
with it, right? So
yeah, some industries are more riskier than others,
Right.
and it depends on the bank. So most banks have something called a moratorium list, right?
Right.
Trucking is a risky industry. Hair, like beauticians, hair, anything with gaming, ATM machines, credit repair. So my
Yeah.
NAICS code does not say anything about credit. I'm a consultant because I am consulting people about credit and finances. I'm a consultant. And it's the same thing with my business academy. I'm a consultant.
consultant.
Correct.
Exactly.
So the NAICS code, that's one of the main things in my ebook. I take everything step by step by step by step. And it goes in depth about the NAICS code because that's one of the main things. That's going to help you as far as what type of funding you're going to get approved for, if you're going to get approved for it, and how much. The NAICS code is very important.
And where can you change your NAICS code if it's wrong?
If
Or you need to update it?
Yeah, if you need to update it, if it's through the Secretary of State, every Secretary of State is different. But I know for sure with Louisiana, you can email them.
And where can you find your code? Like, say I want to start a podcast business. Where can I go to find my NAICS
So I'm gonna tell you, I don't
Naics Code, as they
the Naics Code. So I don't have the particular email address in front of me right now because it's a longer address. Go to Google, research NAICS code lookup.
And it should probably.
Yes, but the one that I use, the last one, I think it's called census.gov or something. You can go there and then it'll show you the one for NAICS. That's the one you use in the census.gov. But it's another one on there too, and I think it's the second option on Google. But it says NAICS code and SIC. So the SIC code is another thing, right? So when you go set up your Dun & Bradstreet, you're not putting in the NAICS code, you're putting in the SIC code. Most people won't know where to find that. So if you go do the NAICS code lookup, you go to that particular link, it says NAICS code and SIC lookup, you put that in. You need to take your time finding your NAICS code because you go in and type something, it'll be like not found. Right?
Yeah.
You have to really take your time. And then once you put it in, go read all the descriptions underneath because you may think it doesn't fit in there. Then when you read the descriptions, you're like, oh, this is my industry, right? One NAICS code may have several different things underneath it, right? That's tied to the same code. So that's important. Make sure you do your thorough research. And then once you get your NAICS code, right underneath that website I'm telling you about, it gives you the SIC code. And it'll also give you the description for that. So that way you already have your SIC code when you send up to Dun & Bradstreet.
Yeah. And you said you got an ebook?
I do. It's called Let's Get Down to Business. That was the same. I got that name from when I did my first workshop. I did a workshop last year in August and in November at the Shreveport Convention Center. It was a 5-hour training. I went in depth on business credit and business funding. I will be doing another one in 2022. I have not gotten a date. But I will tell you this, it takes you step by step by step. It's talked about the items you need to take to the bank, the financial statements. It's breaking down business credit, business credit reporting agencies, how your scores are calculated, how you need to do your payment experiences, because that's what it's called, how payment experiences are basically how,
Here's what I found online.
I'm sorry about my phone. Basically with the payment experiences, how they are, I don't want to say calculated, but how you're able to calculate your payment experiences from the different credit bureau. It's a lot. And also where you go into to start as for a certification for to be a woman-owned business, a minority-owned business, a disadvantaged business, veteran-owned business with SAMS.gov. There's some other steps to that too, but you at least want to make sure everything is set up where you can also be registered with SAMS.gov because that's where it starts at.
All right. So tell the people where they can find your business so they can get started on their credit journey, whether it's repairing credit or building credit or business credit.
Well, for the if you need to build credit, credit repair, even financial education, I offer financial consultations where I help people with budgeting and savings plans. You can go to www.missiontofixit.com. On Facebook, we have Mission to Fix It Financial Solutions. For the Instagram is Mission to Fix It Financial. As far as the Business Academy, that is Mission to Fix It as well, but it's Mission to Fix It Business Academy. That's info. Oh, the website is www.missiontofixitacademy.com. Facebook is Mission to Fix It Academy, Business Academy, and then Instagram is Mission to Fix It BUS Academy.
And we can find that ebook on one of those.
Yes,
websites.
if you go to the website www.missiontofixitacademy.com, at the very top it says shop. Go there and the ebook is there. If you are wanting to have a sit down with me and have a discovery call, there's an option to just go into the services tab on the website and book a discovery call. It's a full hour. It's done via Zoom, and we take up the full hour. A lot of times I go over because my passion comes out. But you can also do the discovery call and the ebook option as well. It's discounted because the ebook is combined. I tell people if you're going to do a discovery call, do the discovery call and ebook. It's going to make sense, but it's going to make way more sense with that ebook.
Right.
Okay. But they can purchase that at www.missiontofixitacademy.com.
Well, Miss Angela, thank you for coming by and educating us on personal credit, business credit, and giving us all these free gems that you normally charge for.
Yes, I did. But it's my purpose, so I know exactly what God has planned for me to do, so I didn't mind doing it at all. I'm just here to change people's lives with finances and credit.
Well, we appreciate that. Now, Miss Angela, you're a Takeover TV superstar.
I'll take that.
And there it is.